Are there any effects pedals that you avoided for like forever? And forever being a relative term because, well, you know, forever for some people might be 3 or 5 years. Forever for others like me could be like 30 years or maybe more. But anyway, any pedals that you've avoided forever, for an eternity, for like your lifetime, that when you finally decided to plug in and tweak the knobs and stuff like that, found what found out what you've been missing. Oh man. So one pedal for me, well, a couple pedals for me. Big Muff Pi, Electro Harmonics. Really cool pedal. Nice fuzz. This is a big box. I don't know if it's a reissue or not, but it's all beat up and gnarly and stuff, and was given to me as a Christmas present, and I really dig it. It's a cool pedal. I get a lot of sounds I never thought that I would be like, oh man, how did I live without that forever? I don't think this is what the Smashing Pumpkins used, and or Hendrix or anything like that, but you can get some of those kind of tones, which makes me think I need to get a fuzz face. I need to get all these other fuzzes. And I've had some other like off-brand fuzzes, and I've got one over here somewhere that was like made from a kit that just does weird things that just find really cool. But this pedal is definitely one that I was like, hey knucklehead, what are you thinking? The other one, a friend of mine picked up this pedal in a trade or whatever, and loaned it to me, and I was like, well, I've never played one before, and so I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's the Rat, and I think this is the reissue, 90s reissue or something like that. It doesn't have a light on it or anything, so just like the Big Muff. No, the Big Muff does have a light on it. This thing doesn't have a light on it, so I have no idea if it's on or not, you know, by indication of that, but your ear definitely tells you. Oh my. I mean, I saw this thing on people's loadouts like Zach Wild and others, and I thought, well, you know, maybe there's something to it, but nah, I'm not pedal. Gonna use the amp distortion, you know, to get my distortion, and roll back the volume on my guitar knob or volume knob to get, you know, cleaner effect, you know, and use my right hand for like how hard I hit the strings to impact the dynamics of my guitar. But man, I plugged this thing in, and before I knew it, I was like, holy moly, this thing really, I did a short series this winter on Motley Crue stuff, songs from Shout at the Devil. I mean, I was like, this is Mick Mars 1983 in a box. Going into, well, I think I was hitting it with the Clone, and of course I have compression on. I was hitting it with compression into the Clone, just a little bit of hair, going into this thing, and then into an amp that was pretty well clean. You know, it just, my oh my, this thing, couldn't live without it. I started looking for them, and then lo and behold, Merry Christmas, Lauren. I get this thing for Christmas. So this is another one that, what was I thinking? What have I been missing? What pedal have you been avoiding for eternity and then found out after playing it where it was like, wow, this is what I've been missing all this time, and what a knucklehead I was that I haven't, you know, didn't try this thing out, and well, I'm glad I did now, and I have this thing, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to go on my board, off a board, or it's just a cool thing. I mean, I've seen videos with this thing where they roll the distortion back, or they have the distortion up and roll back their volume and get great tones. So I'm going to be monkeying with this thing a lot of different ways. For the venues I play, the kind of drive that I was getting out of this is a little more, well, maybe a lot more than what is needed there. But you could get some really cool, almost cleaned up fuzz tones from it and all sorts of different things. So I've got a lot of experimenting to do with this thing. I've heard people say, ooh, this sounds like a fuzz. Yeah, but it sounds like a distortion too. And it sounds like a Marshall melting power tubes too. So I think this has a lot of potential. What's funny is these things were designed and initially sold in the 70s. And really this thing hasn't changed much. I mean, you could watch the JHS videos where they talk about the history of this thing. I'm not going to get into that, but it could do so much with a technology that's been around for almost as long as I've been alive, which for some people that's a really long time. Anyway, yeah, let me know. I want to know what pedals you thought that, nah, I'll pass on that thing. I don't need that. And then you played it and was like, oh my, I can't live without it. So, like to know. See ya.